After my miscarriage, my husband, who is a psychologist, hypnotized me into losing my memory so he could take a depressed patient away for psychological healing. For the next 3 months, he and my son traveled everywhere with her. Only when they were finally tired of playing did he deign to restore my memory. I once again became a wife and a mother, just one who no longer interfered, no longer nagged, no longer caused trouble. They thought I was throwing a tantrum, trying to get attention, playing hard to get, and didn't care, until they saw the post I made. Help. My memory has come back but my feelings haven't. What should I do? People can't even empathize with their past selves. Now I feel tense and awkward just living under the same roof with my husband and son. What should I do? What should I do? Please help! Chapter 1. I was sleeping soundly under the covers when I suddenly heard a sharp snap. The light was switched on, and my vision flooded with blinding brightness. Startled, I jerked my eyes open and saw a tall figure standing by the door. The handsome face behind silver-rimmed glasses was cold and emotionless. I blinked a few times before realizing it was my husband, Ezekiel. His voice was steady, without the slightest emotion. "Why are you sleeping in the guest room?" I sat up wrapped in the blanket and let out an awkward laugh. "I just recovered my memory. I'm not used to things yet. Let's sleep separately for now. I need some time to adjust." He nodded indifferently. "Suit yourself." Then, as if casually, he added, "You didn't call me today." I looked at him, confused. "What call? I didn't have anything to talk to you about today. Why would I call you?" His presence grew colder. "Before, if I wasn't home by 10, you would keep calling and harassing me." Thinking back on my past behavior made me so embarrassed my toes curled in shame. "Sorry, I won't do that again." Looking back at those memories felt like stumbling across the cringeworthy posts I made online back in middle school after I'd already started working, so embarrassing my scalp tingled. The reason I was hypnotized into losing my memory was because at midnight one night, I had called one of Ezekiel's patients. I cursed Luviana, called her a bitch, accused her of pretending to be depressed to seduce someone else's husband, said if she was really sick she should take medicine instead of stripping naked and climbing into a man's bed. Luviana broke down crying from my insults. Ezekiel took the phone, his voice still calm and steady, and told me he would be home immediately. I smugly believed I had chased away the third party trying to intrude on my marriage. But when Ezekiel came back, he told me, "I'm taking Luviana to live in the forest for 3 months to get close to nature and do psychological healing." Beside him, our son Diego raised his hand excitedly. "I'm going too! I'm going too! Auntie Luviana gave me candy last time. I want to go with her." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "What about our anniversary trip? I've been preparing for half a month already. We agreed to go when Diego was on break." "We're not going," he said flatly. "Luviana's psychological condition is serious. I need to stay with her for treatment. I want to go to the mountains. I don't want to travel with Mom. It's so boring. I like Auntie Luviana more." Of course I refused. I lost control, screaming and arguing hysterically. He impatiently shoved me away. Diego rammed into me with his head as well. A wave of searing pain hit me. Bright red blood gushed out from beneath me. I lost the child I had been trying to conceive for half a year, and because he was afraid I would keep causing trouble, he forcibly used an immature experimental hypnosis on me, erased my memory, and abandoned me in the hospital. Chapter 2. I repeatedly promised that I would never casually call and harass him again. Yet Ezekiel's expression only grew darker. After a long silence, he said coldly and with absolute certainty, "Naomi, you're throwing a tantrum." After that, he turned around and left one more sentence behind. "If you want to make a fuss, go ahead. Just remember to organize my study." I hesitated to speak. After thinking for a moment, I took out my phone, yawning as I searched for a suitable nanny. I can't do this. I really can't. I admire my past self. Waking up at 6 every morning, carefully preparing breakfast for a son with countless allergies. At 7, preparing a separate breakfast for Ezekiel, whose stomach was fragile. After barely eating something myself, I would start cleaning the entire house. Because Ezekiel had obsessive cleanliness issues and wouldn't allow any mess at home, especially the study, which had to be immaculately organized. Today, I tried to recreate my past self from memory and nearly collapsed from exhaustion. when organizing the study files. I shoved things in haphazardly, probably because of that. Ezekiel came specifically to remind me. I fell asleep groggily, before I had even slept for a few minutes. Loud banging on the door jolted me awake. Get up and make breakfast already. I'm going to be late for school. My son Diego shouted impatiently. It was breakfast time. Luckily, I had already prepared. I ordered takeout with a scheduled delivery. It'll arrive in a bit. After saying that, I went back to sleep. In a daze, I vaguely heard Diego angrily kicking the door. Dad shouldn't have brought you back at all. Auntie Luviana always makes me breakfast. You're completely useless. I was awakened again when Ezekiel roughly dragged me out of bed. What did you let Diego eat? I looked completely confused. He dragged me in front of Diego, whose body was covered in red rashes and who was struggling to breathe. Even if you're angry, you shouldn't take it out on our son. He has a severe allergy. If I had found it any later, he would have suffocated to death. An ambulance quickly took my son to the hospital. I chased after them, explaining frantically, I really don't know why this happened. When I customized the breakfast, I listed all his allergens and talked it through carefully. They promised it would be made with absolute caution. I never expected Diego would still have an allergic reaction. Ezekiel shot me an annoyed glance. Stop making things up. You previously drove away the 2 nutritionists I hired and forcibly controlled Diego's diet. He was just uncomfortable and said a few things favoring Luviana, and you deliberately punished him like this. No, that's because... Enough. Don't make me regret restoring your memory. My explanation was cut off coldly. Controlling Diego's diet had always been because of his special constitution. He was prone to allergies, so he wasn't allowed to eat recklessly. As for those 2 nutritionists, they had both quit voluntarily after less than a week, saying there were too many precautions and it was too troublesome. Forget it. Explaining everything was exhausting anyway. Once the new nanny arrived, none of this would have anything to do with me. The doctor said it was a honey allergy. Since he hadn't eaten much, it wasn't serious, and 4 drip would be enough. I called the restaurant to ask. The manager said the honey was part of a separate complimentary item, clearly labeled as an allergen with a warning sign. It seemed Diego had eaten it out of greed. He had always liked sweets, but he was allergic to honey and chocolate. In the past, I strictly controlled his diet, which was why nothing happened. This time, I didn't pay attention, and something went wrong. Naomi. Auntie. Just as I was about to turn and speak to Ezekiel, a soft, warm body suddenly wrapped itself around my legs. Chapter 3. Ivy. Why are you at the hospital? I squatted down in surprise and hugged Ivy with a smile. She was my little companion during the time I had lost my memory. During that period in the hospital, I was panicked and lost, as if a huge hole had been carved out of my heart. I drifted through each day in a daze, confused and unfocused, like duckweed battered by wind and rain, not knowing what I was supposed to do. I didn't even understand many basic things. It was Ivy who patiently taught me, accompanied me, and treated me like a kindergarten child, making the cold hospital feel a little less lonely. She was playing and fell off the swing, hit her head, so we came to the hospital to get it checked. Ivy's uncle, Mickey, spoke up. When he saw me, his eyes lit up, as if he was genuinely happy. Oh dear, are you okay? Does it hurt? I worriedly touched Ivy's little head. She wrapped her arms around me and rubbed her cheek against mine. Ivy doesn't hurt. I just really missed Auntie Naomi. I missed you too, Ivy. Mickey watched the scene gently, but concern crept into his handsome features. Why are you at the hospital? Is something wrong? Are you okay? I'm fine. My son had an allergic reaction, so we came to the hospital. That's good. He let out a breath of relief, then quickly realized what he'd said. No. That's not what I meant. I mean, is your son okay? His flustered reaction made me laugh. He's fine, just needs an 4. He was about to say something else when Ezekiel's angry voice rang out. Naomi. I turned my head. His gaze moved from Mickey to my face, and for some reason my smile seemed to irritate him. He frowned. Diego is crying. I hurriedly looked at Diego. The swelling on his face had gone down by half. Maybe because the allergy had been so uncomfortable. His eyes were filled with tears. Crying. He pointed at Ivy, both angry and anxious. Who is she? This is little Ivy. She kept me company when I was in the hospital before. Don't cry. Tears will make your face uncomfortable. And as an older brother, you should set a good example for the little sister. As soon as I said that, something seemed to trigger Diego. He cried and shouted angrily. She's not my sister. You leave. I don't want you to care about me. He had never liked me. Driving me away wasn't new. Seeing how agitated he was, so much so that blood was flowing back into the Ford tube in his hand, I hurriedly stepped outside. I didn't see how he pouted and cried even harder. After offering higher pay several times, I finally found a nanny willing to come for a trial shift. I told them in advance. I've found a suitable nanny. She'll be coming over later. You'll be home too, see if she's a good fit. After the hospital incident, Diego, whose temper seemed to have improved for some reason, spoke softly. Mom, you don't usually like having outsiders in the house. It felt like he hadn't called me mom in a very long time. Usually it was always you this, you that. Sometimes even calling me by my name. Scolding him only made him more rebellious. He'd even said he didn't like a mother like me. That Auntie Luviana was thousands of times better. For a brief moment, I froze, goosebumps rising on my skin, pushing aside the awkward feelings in my heart. I let out a dry laugh. It'll be more convenient with a nanny. Ezekiel pushed up his glasses. It's good for you to rest for a while, but, he snorted lightly. Don't wait until the person arrives and then drive her away again using the excuse that she's trying to seduce me. Being reminded of my past embarrassment made my scalp tingle with shame. That's what being blinded by obsessive love does. The nanny had merely forgotten to put on clothes and walked out of the bathroom, and I immediately assumed she was seducing him and kicked her out overnight. Luckily, losing my memory and regaining it wiped out that obsessive mindset. Otherwise, who knows how much more humiliating I'd make myself. I was just about to firmly promise it wouldn't happen again when the doorbell rang. Diego glanced at me cautiously, then, rarely, took the initiative to open the door. There was a bit of commotion at the entrance. I was wondering what was going on when the youthful and pretty Luviana walked in. I didn't expect it to really be Dr. Ezekiel's home. I saw the nanny listing and thought I could help Dr. Ezekiel, so I came. Chapter 4. Ezekiel's usually composed exterior shattered instantly. He slammed the cup in his hand onto the table, water splashing everywhere. I've told you already, Luviana and I have a normal doctor-patient relationship. There is nothing between us. Why would you still make her be a nanny and humiliate her like this? I was completely unable to defend myself. There was practically no nanny who could accept all the requirements I had listed. After much difficulty, one finally agreed, and I let her come without even looking carefully. Who would have thought it would be Luviana? Explaining at this point was useless, so I could only force myself to patch things up. I know I was too sensitive before and misunderstood things. Seeing that she's willing to come work at our home, and that you've already spent 3 months together and understand each other well, she's actually very suitable. It can also make up for my previous mistakes. The words sounded magnanimous, yet Ezekiel's heart suddenly tightened. He studied my expression carefully. I looked relaxed, even smiling, as if I had finally let go of a burden, appearing more beautiful than before. For some reason, his chest felt constricted, as if he had lost something important. While he remained silent, Luviana's eyes reddened. Did I cause a misunderstanding in Dr. Ezekiel's family? I'm sorry, because I received Dr. Ezekiel's treatment for free, because he stayed with me until late every night and even took me abroad into the mountains for psychological healing. I felt very grateful and guilty, so I came. I didn't know it would make you argue. I'm sorry. I'll leave right now. After all the explanations, Luviana naturally stayed. Ezekiel even warned me specifically, telling me to remember what I had said and not to deliberately make things difficult for her. After that, he lightly touched my cheek, his voice low. Naomi, you don't need to deliberately behave well just to please me. I'm used to how loud and quarrelsome you are. I've already changed the master bedroom sheets to the set you like best. Come back and sleep there tomorrow. Those words felt strangely familiar. Lost in thought, I recalled. Back in university, Ezekiel had been a campus star, handsome, refined, cold in temperament, and outstanding academically. So when I finally got together with him, I was so excited that I loudly announced it to everyone. Staking my claim, I even viciously scolded girls who still handed him confession letters. That brought a lot of gossip and mockery. People said I was completely mismatched with Ezekiel, that I looked like a shrew, and that we'd break up sooner or later. I was upset for 2 days. Those comments somehow reached Ezekiel's ears. For the first time, he skipped class to find me and pulled me into his arms. "I like how loud and quarrelsome you are," he said. "It shows that you love me very much." Unfortunately, after we got married, I became jealous and argued again and again. He went from comforting me to thinking I was overthinking, to finally feeling annoyed. He grew colder and colder toward me. On the psychological evaluation assessing my mental state, he wrote, "Emotionally unstable, middle-aged shrew." Chapter 5. Goosebumps rose all over my skin again, and suddenly a realization struck me. He probably wanted the spacious guest room for Luviana. So the next day, I switched rooms with Luviana and moved myself into the nanny's room. Yet I noticed a trace of suppressed anger in Ezekiel's eyes. He didn't even notice that the hot coffee cup had scalded Luviana beside him. That night, before he brought Luviana into the study, he deliberately glanced at me. I scrolled through my phone, completely indifferent, although no one except me, not even Diego, was ever allowed into the study. Well, this was Luviana after all. Making an exception seemed normal. Somehow, he started enjoying comparing us, praising Luviana's cooking as better than mine, praising how much cleaner she kept the house compared to me, praising how her organization of the study was more convenient than how I used to arrange it. I rolled my eyes in silence. Praise her if you want, she really did do well. But was it necessary to step on me every single time? Seeing that I had no reaction, his mood grew darker and heavier. I was baffled and even less inclined to stay in the same space with him. "Mom, Auntie Luviana just gave me a piece of candy. Can I eat it?" Diego, who had been much quieter lately, asked me while holding the candy. Without even lifting my head, I replied, "If you want to eat it, then eat it. But it's nut candy, so what?" Diego suddenly burst into loud sobs. "Mom, don't be like this. Don't ignore me. I'm allergic to nuts. You never used to let me eat them. I know I was wrong. You were doing it for my own good before. Please don't ignore me. I'll behave from now on." My mind genuinely failed to catch up. After my memory returned, I was often slow like this. Things I had once engraved firmly in my mind were gradually fading away. Watching Diego cry in such a miserable state, I felt at a loss and turned to Luviana beside me. "Why don't you comfort him? He's always liked you." Luviana pulled him into her arms to soothe him. I took quick steps away, leaving the crying behind me. The me from those memories would have felt heartbroken and guilty seeing Diego like this. But I touched the place over my heart. It was utterly still. During the time I had lost my memory, I would cry for no reason, my heart aching so badly that I couldn't sleep night after night. Maybe I had cried all the tears I had. Maybe my emotions were completely drained. I simply no longer had the strength to feel. That night, Ezekiel went into the bathroom to shower. Not long after, he called out to me, "Naomi, bring my bathrobe in." I was painting my nails and couldn't free my hands. Seeing Luviana nearby, I said, "Can you do it? I'm busy right now." Luviana's cheeks flushed, her eyes carrying a shy, girlish look. She bit her lip and nodded. "I can. If Dr. Ezekiel needs help, I can help with anything." She went in. I didn't care, admiring my manicure. Then I heard a voice full of rage from inside. "Get out!" Immediately after came the sharp sound of glass shattering under a punch. Not long after, Ezekiel stormed toward me, blood dripping from his hand, fury blazing. "Naomi, what exactly are you trying to do? You never used to let women get close to me, and now you're actually sending her right to me." Chapter 6. I looked at him in confusion. He laughed in anger. "Fine, don't regret it." Ezekiel grabbed Luviana, her clothes pulled open, her entire body still wet, and dragged her into the master bedroom, slamming the door shut. I went to sleep as usual, completely unaware that in the middle of the night, Ezekiel entered my room with a cold expression, stood by my bed for a long while, and did the very thing he hated most when I did it to him. He went through my phone. The post I had made online a few days earlier appeared before his eyes. "Help. My memory has recovered, but my feelings haven't. What should I do? People can't even empathize with their past selves. Now I feel tense and awkward just living under the same roof with my husband and son. What should I do? What should I do? Please help! Below, netizens chimed in with enthusiastic curiosity. Amnesia like in novels. Hurry, give us the details. What do you mean by feelings not recovering? Damage to the hippocampus? Can't feel emotions anymore? Divorce. Busy careers, one word. Divorce. I added more details. Mainly, when I think back on my past emotional state, I feel embarrassed. I no longer have that kind of love for my husband and son. Let me first explain how much I loved before. Simply put, I didn't allow any woman to get close to my husband. If he wasn't home by 10 at night, I would bombard him with calls. I even suspected the nanny of seducing him and kicked her out, and I called his patient to curse her. In short, when I think about it now, I feel like my past self was insane. It sounds like when hormones were raging you thought your husband was a super handsome guy, and now that things cooled down you realize he's just an ugly goblin. The illusion is gone. You were really unhinged back then. This is the obedient wife wakes up arc. So how do you feel about your husband now? Nothing at all. We're just not as intense. I replied, like a familiar stranger. I feel resistant to intimacy with him, even though I have so many memories. I can't understand how I ever loved him that much. I even suspect that because my husband is a psychologist, he might have given me some kind of suggestion back then. They replied, stop reading novels. Psychologists aren't that powerful. Sounds like normal love fading. Amnesia just sped it up. Isn't there that saying? Love changes in an instant. This is actually torture for your husband. If you can't recover, you should just divorce him. Don't drag it out. I replied, then what about my feelings for my son? He's a child I carried for 10 months and gave birth to. We're blood-related family. How could that kind of bond fade? That part does seem off. Are you leaving something out? You said so much, but you never explained how you lost your memory. What happened that caused it? If you really loved your son before, it shouldn't be possible to feel nothing. Blood ties come with innate attachment. It doesn't just disappear. I replied, I loved my son very much before. He was born prematurely and was raised with great difficulty. He has a constitution prone to allergies, so I paid extreme attention and strictly controlled his diet. He complained about it, but I thought he was still young and didn't understand, which was normal. As for how I lost my memory, at the time I got jealous and argued with my husband. He pushed me and I miscarried. I kept making a scene after that, and then I lost my memory. The commenters were stunned. Wait, miscarriage. That's the real key point. I can tell. This looks like post-traumatic stress avoidance. The symptoms include emotional numbness toward trauma-related people and events. Loss of interest. This fits your situation exactly. Huh? Then what should I do? Can this be treated? Very difficult. And for you, it's a form of suffering. Treat what? Divorce your husband immediately. Domestic abuser, get him as far away as possible. Chapter 7. Ezekiel put down the phone and sat alone in the study for the entire night. When those words were combined with Naomi's recent behavior, the conclusion was obvious. Naomi no longer loved him. That was why she had become completely indifferent to him. It wasn't sulking. It wasn't anger. It wasn't a tantrum. From the very depths of her heart, she had stopped caring. She could no longer generate even the slightest emotion toward him. It didn't matter to her that he interacted with Luviana. It didn't even matter that she let Luviana walk into his bathroom, because she no longer loved him. That realization sent a sharp pain through Ezekiel's chest. Cold sweat broke out on his forehead. He clutched his heart, barely daring to breathe. How was that possible? They had been together for so many years. It was just that recently, he had grown impatient. He felt Naomi embarrassed him, so he instinctively wanted to escape. Just 3 months. 3 months. Leaving Naomi, who had miscarried and lost her memory, alone in the hospital for 3 months. Ezekiel began to tremble belatedly. It was fine. There was still time to make it up to her. Naomi was just sick. As long as she went to the hospital for treatment, she would definitely recover again. It wasn't anything serious. That was how he comforted himself. When I woke up and reached for my phone, it felt scorching hot. Was the battery about to explode? Startled, I threw the phone aside. After waiting a long while and seeing nothing happen, I picked it up again to check the replies on my post. Ever since I mentioned the miscarriage, most netizens had been advising me to get a divorce. I was considering it too. Assets weren't an issue. Not long after graduating from university, my best friend and I had opened a beauty clinic together. We posted videos online and unexpectedly went viral. After that, the popularity kept rising. We opened branch after branch. Now we barely managed things at all, yet the revenue was still considerable. The only thing I worried about was Diego. I didn't know if he would be able to accept his parents divorcing. When I went out to have breakfast, I realized Ezekiel still hadn't left the house. I didn't know what he and Luviana had been up to the night before, but he looked pale and in very poor spirits. Naomi, I'll take you to the hospital later to get checked, he said. There might be a problem with how your memory recovered. He forced a smile, his voice unusually gentle. I looked at him several times, puzzled. What problem? My memory isn't missing anything. Memory loss experiments are rarely done. There might be some minor issues. I nodded, understanding. I was the first person to undergo a memory loss experiment. Cooperating with you is only right. His pupils trembled. How do you know you were the first? I heard it when I was bored, standing in a corner catching some air. I overheard nurses talking. That memory loss experiment had never been done before. Dr. Ezekiel actually dared to use it on his own wife. How heartless. If something went wrong and damaged her brain, just thinking about it is terrifying. Dr. Ezekiel even told us not to let Naomi leave the hospital, to restrict her, and not tell her anything. Naomi had just miscarried. No one was taking care of her, and she had lost her memory. She just stared out the window every day. It was heartbreaking. Even nurses who didn't know me felt sorry for me. Yet Ezekiel and Diego were overseas, accompanying Luviana, taking photo after photo with bright smiles on their faces. I spoke lightly, as if it didn't matter, but Ezekiel's eyes reddened. I will make you recover, he said hoarsely. You will recover, I promise. So he had realized that my feelings hadn't returned. Actually, not recovering was pretty good. I just felt nothing toward them. Toward other people, even when watching a TV drama, I could still be moved to tears easily. If my feelings came back, my subconscious told me it would be unbearably painful. I didn't want that pain. No need. I think things are fine the way they are now. No, he said firmly. You loved me so much. You can't just stop loving me like this. But the experiment was really painful, I said quietly. It felt like my brain was being churned over and over in a washing machine. Every single nerve hurt. I don't want to go through that again. With every word I spoke, Ezekiel's face grew a shade paler, until it was nearly white as paper, as if he might collapse at any moment. Seeing him like that, I let out a sigh. If you don't want things to be this way, then let's get a divorce. Chapter 8. No! The sharp cry of refusal came from Diego. He grabbed my hand tightly. Mom, don't divorce Dad. Don't stop loving me. I'll listen to you from now on. I'll behave. I promise. Please don't abandon me, okay? Ezekiel's reaction was just as intense. Impossible. I won't agree to a divorce. You've only forgotten temporarily. As long as we go to the hospital, get checked, get treatment, we'll return to how things were before. Mom, let's go to the hospital. Everything will be fine. Diego's eyes brimmed with tears. Fine. Just this once. Ezekiel took me to the hospital. After a series of examinations, there was only one conclusion: a psychological issue. Post-traumatic stress disorder, with classic avoidance responses. Rather than treatment, the recommendation was to stay away from the source of the trauma. In his office, Ezekiel argued loudly with his colleagues, completely discarding his usual calm demeanor, like a man driven mad and unwilling to let go. Watching him irritated me. I turned around and walked out of the hospital. Finally caught you. Mickey, who had been leaning against the wall, straightened up and walked over quickly. Why are you at the hospital again? What happened? He let out a light laugh, his handsome brows filled with ease and warmth. I've been waiting for you. When you were hospitalized with amnesia, you didn't remember any contact information. Last time we ran into each other, I didn't get the chance to ask. I thought, since you work around hospitals, you'd come again. So I came by from time to time to try my luck. So, is Ivy missing me? I took out my phone to add him as a contact and asked with a smile. He lowered his gaze, his voice very soft. She misses you. I miss you too. His voice was too quiet, I didn't hear clearly. What? Mickey cleared his throat twice, the tips of his ears turning red. Nothing. Are you busy right now? Do you want to come see Ivy with me? I agreed happily. He took me to the kindergarten entrance. Before long, Ivy came running out of the school gate with a little backpack on her back, cheerful and lively. Uncle! Auntie Naomi! Ivy threw herself into my arms, clinging to me and chattering about how much she'd missed me, how she wanted to play together, eat delicious food together, and even take me home with her. I tapped her little nose. Then let's go eat something tasty now, your favorite pizza. Okay. Okay. At the pizza place, Ivy ate happily. Mickey pinched her cheek. After eating today, the next time will be a month later. No whining when the time comes, okay? Ivy had originally been hospitalized for stomach problems. The doctor said she should eat less junk food, so they agreed she could only have it once a month. I know, Uncle, I don't want to go back to the hospital. This time wasn't it just so you could spend more time with Auntie Naomi? You have to work hard. You know. What did that mean? I looked at Mickey in confusion, only to see his handsome face flush all the way down to his neck. Catching my gaze, he stammered awkwardly. It's not, I mean, I do have feelings. My eyes widened. But I'm married. Hearing that, Mickey frowned deeply. You don't plan to divorce? After the way that man treated you, you're still unwilling to leave him? During those 3 months, Mickey had stayed by my side the whole time. He knew everything about my miscarriage and amnesia. When he found out it was Ezekiel who had done it, he was furious and cursed him out harshly. Right now, even my emotions toward Ezekiel weren't as intense as his. I suggested it. He won't agree. If he won't agree to an amicable divorce, then file for a contested one. I can help you. Mickey looked at me seriously. Instinctively, I avoided his burning gaze. Let's talk about it later. He looked a little disappointed, but still said stubbornly, I just hope you'll give me a chance to wait in line. Thinking of the careful way he had taken care of me during those 3 months, my heart softened. Chapter 9. Mom? Diego's voice came through the glass. I looked outside and saw him standing there, his eyes slightly red. I called him in. Why are you here? He pressed his lips together, clutching the corner of his clothes, occasionally glancing at Ivy. I wanted to buy something tasty for you after school. I was surprised. He had never done anything like that before, never bought me gifts. It seemed the talk of divorce had frightened him. Thank you, then I'll take you home. I had originally thought of letting Diego eat here as well, but remembering how prone he was to allergies, I could only take him back. Waving goodbye to Ivy, the sunset stretched the shadows of Diego and me long across the ground. I wanted to tell him not to overthink things, but I didn't know how to begin. Diego lowered his head. After a long time, he spoke cautiously. Mom, can you hold my hand? You used to always hold my hand. Only then did I realize he had been tugging on my clothes the whole time. Holding his cold little hand, I didn't know what I was feeling. In the past, Diego didn't like me holding his hand or any physical contact at all. To him, I was just the bad mother who constantly controlled him. I knew he was young and didn't understand, so I had never felt resentment. But now, with my memories unexpectedly severed from my emotions, he felt like a stranger to me, and I had instinctively grown distant. Mom, are you still going to divorce Dad? I didn't want to lie to him. Yes. Then after you divorce, can I stay with you? That left me silent for a long time. In the end, I still said, I want you to stay with your dad. He was also part of the source of my trauma response. If we lived together in the future, I wouldn't know how to take care of him. That wouldn't be good for either of us. I watched tears fall from his eyes one by one. Even though my heart felt completely calm, I still pulled him into my arms. When we got home, Luviana had already prepared dinner. Ezekiel wasn't there. After finishing the meal and tidying up the dishes, she sat across from me, looking as though she wanted to have a proper conversation. Naomi. Up until now, nothing has happened between Dr. Ezekiel and me. Even though my intentions weren't pure, I never succeeded. I raised an eyebrow, not understanding why she was telling me this. Are you trying to get me and Ezekiel not to divorce? Luviana shook her head, smiling brightly, with a hint of shyness. No, I like Dr. Ezekiel. Of course I want you two to divorce. What I mean is that your divorce has nothing to do with me. In the future, when Dr. Ezekiel and I are together, don't start making scenes again to break us up. You ruined things between Dr. Ezekiel and me again and again. Every night he carefully took care of me. You would interrupt, causing me to fail over and over. I hope that after you divorce, you'll let go completely and stop clinging and harassing us. Her words left me utterly speechless. Ruined whom? Who ruined whom? Wasn't she the one interfering? Since when did a homewrecker get to speak with such confidence? I genuinely didn't know what to say anymore. I could only leave her with one sentence. I wish you success. Chapter 10. After that, Ezekiel tried several more times to take me to the hospital. I refused each time. I found him irritating, and I pressed for a divorce even more frequently. Naomi, stop bringing it up. I won't agree to a divorce. I don't want to divorce you. I know I was wrong. I'll make it up to you. We're not divorcing. Ezekiel, what's the point of dragging this out? As a psychologist, you know very well that what I should do is stay away from the source of my trauma response, which is you. So why won't you let me go? Ezekiel's eyes were stimulated red. He had always pursued neatness, yet now he couldn't even remember to shave. He grabbed my wrist tightly, refusing to let go. No. I never meant to hurt you. Please don't leave me. I shook his hand off. We've been together for so many years. This time, just this once, let me go. After saying that, I packed my luggage and moved out directly. 1 month later, when I was preparing to file for a contested divorce, I received a divorce agreement signed by Ezekiel. He wanted nothing. The child would stay with him. The procedures were completed quickly. I adjusted the asset division to a 70-30 split and left the house to him. He wanted to make it up to me, but I had to think about Diego. He needed a stable place to live. He couldn't become homeless just because of a divorce. Regarding custody, although he cried and looked at me, he still took the initiative to say he wanted to stay with Ezekiel, doing exactly what I had hoped for. After the divorce was finalized, my best friend threw a celebration party for me. I invited Ivy, and Mickey came along as well. He was smiling even more happily than I was. That night, he had me sit in his sports car, driving along the coast with the wind rushing past us. When you were in the hospital, you said you liked the sea, liked flowers, liked everything beautiful. So I want to give all of that to you. The clear moonlight spilled across the surface of the ocean, reflecting a soft blue glow, like fragments of the Milky Way, floating and shimmering with the waves. Suddenly, fireworks shot into the sky. The brilliant explosions illuminated the entire beach, revealing a carefully arranged sea of flowers, stunningly beautiful. Just like a proposal scene, I looked at Mickey, afraid he might pull out a ring and kneel down to propose. I liked him, but this felt a little too fast. Seeing my distraction and guessing what I was thinking, Mickey laughed. Don't overthink it. This is just to celebrate your divorce. If I were proposing, I wouldn't do something this shabby. Shabby? My own wedding back then wasn't even half this grand, even though I thought that. I relaxed, enjoying the fireworks and the rare blue tears of the sea. Later, I bought a new house, not too far away. Diego came to visit once a week and told me many things about Ezekiel. For example, Luviana claimed her depression had relapsed, but it was fake. It was discovered that she had never been ill to begin with. She had pretended from the start just to get close to Ezekiel. When Ezekiel tried to kick her out, she became furious and drugged him at night, trying to climb into his bed. Unfortunately for her, Ezekiel stayed in the bathroom all night and called the police as soon as he woke up. Luviana was detained. After being released, she still refused to give up. Clinging stubbornly, Ezekiel was utterly fed up. No one knew exactly what he did, but he eventually sent her away from the city, and only then did things finally quiet down. 1 year later, Mickey formally proposed to me. I said yes. The wedding was extremely grand. As I walked forward holding the bouquet, I saw Ezekiel. His eyes were filled with deep pain. I didn't care. I placed my hand into Mickey's, who was looking at me with tears and laughter at the same time. The happiness overflowing in my heart had long since covered over all the pain of the past. Love changes in an instant, but I do not doubt the sincerity of the present moment.